Hi my bunnies, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're not talking about a bad manga, we are actually going to be talking about a bad anime. And this is an anime that I watched 10-ish years ago, back when I started my whole anime journey. And it's called I'm in Love with My Younger Sister. And I want to take you through the journey of how I found this manga first. I feel like I have some explaining to do as to how I even came across this. So let's start with 10 years ago. I was just getting into dating and learning about love and all of that kind of stuff. And because of my family background, I wanted to watch provocative content, but I didn't know how to go about doing this. I wasn't about to, go onto certain websites. So I did what a 10-year-old would do, and I looked up for ecchi animes on YouTube. A lot of times if you're looking for this, you're really just gonna find clips of like Kiss X Sis and such, and that was fine. But while scrolling through these, I found this anime, and it's called I'm in Love with My Little Sister. And I feel as though this anime has haunted me ever since I saw it. It has just followed me through the years, and it just never leaves me alone. I feel like this anime is like The Ring, where in order to take the curse from you, you have to show someone else it. But I will tell you about this anime, plot point by plot point, and I'm gonna let you guys decide if you want to go watch it or not. I had to watch it again to take my notes. It's still up on YouTube. Now, this, because it does have like, I guess content in it that YouTube doesn't like, it will typically get uploaded and then eventually deleted by YouTube, I'm assuming, or by the user. But soon after, another one will be uploaded. You can kind of always find it if you search it. It's there, you just have to look for it. So you can go watch it if you want. But we are going to go through the entire plot. So if you don't care, I guess I'm giving you a spoiler warning. Let's just jump into it, shall we? And I feel as though the title just gives away what it is. It actually does sound like a hentai title. So I feel like you're probably smart enough to realize why it's bad just from the title, but that's why we're gonna take a look at it. Alright, so here's the thing that I want to say right off the bat. If this were a hentai, I would have nothing to say about this, because hentai is fantasy. It can get away with themes that aren't legal or morally aren't right, because it's fantasy, and that's fine. But this isn't a hentai, and it's not framed as a hentai. It is a shoujo romance, straight up. There's really nothing provocative about it at all, even, but we'll get to that. And because it's a shoujo romance, it is very strictly about the story, and when it's framed the way it is, it's just gonna, it's bad. It's just gonna. I also just want to make like a really quick, other, like little side note. So this is actually, it's episode 1 of a series that never got another episode. It's basically an OVA. And apparently in the manga, which I don't want to read, but maybe I will. Maybe we'll do a part 2 and read the manga, we'll see. But apparently in the manga it does go farther, and it does point out that the two of them are not actually siblings, and that one of them is actually adopted. It's still weird though when you are only watching the one video and you do not know the context. I literally only found that out because I read a comment in the video. But when you're just when you're just watching the episode, it's framed that they're brother and sister. It's never revealed that they're adopted, so we have to view it as that was how it was meant to be. So, that being said, let's get into it. Right off the bat, we get to meet Yori and Iku, who are twins, and Iku and Yori are playing, and Yori promises that he is going to love Iku forever and that they are destined to be married together. This is not weird at all in this context, it's individual context, because kids do that all the time. Like, little kids, like, oh, I'm gonna marry you. Like, kids say that to their moms and stuff. That's fine. But we already know the title, so we already know what's going to happen. So it actually just feels kind of ominous instead when you really learn how Yori is. So even though these guys are twins, they couldn't be more different from each other. Yori is a very mature, studious boy, and Iku is a klutzy idiot. She is very childish and very stupid. Iku is probably the person, Yori is the biggest problem. But I have a lot of problems with Iku as well, in just the way that she is. Iku is very attached to Yori in a somewhat, not normal way. She's, way too attached to him, to the point where she relies on him a lot. So in the very next scene, they are now older. They are actually in, junior high, which really threw me for a loop watching this again, because I feel like when I first watched this, I definitely thought that they were in high school, but they're not. So they're 15 because they're about to go into high school. This is kind of revealed because Yori takes a entrance exam to a school outside of their prefecture, and it's a high school, so they're 15, going on 16. Anyway, the fact that he wants to go to another school in another prefecture is important later. We'll get back to that. So in the very next scene, I feel like I should stop this here and just say that this story, the way I'm going to tell it, makes it sound like it goes by very fast. This is an hour-long episode, and it feels like it goes by very fast, but it's very slow-moving. I was kind of skipping through it quite a bit because there would just be very long pauses, and then stuff would happen and there'd be a very long pause. So I'm giving you the condensed version, and you can thank me for that. Okay, so in the next scene, we learn a couple of things. One, that Yuri and Iku share a room. Despite the fact that they are teenagers. Teenagers probably shouldn't be sharing the same room, especially siblings. I just feel like teenagers in general just need that kind of privacy, but they're basically living in one room in bunk beds. So yeah. Anyway, the other thing we learn is that Iku is sleeping on Yuri's bed. He sleeps on the top bunk. And this is also weird, because as a twin sister who has a twin brother, who did share bunk beds when we were kids, we never slept in each other's beds. Whichever one we designated was ours, we never, switched. I was never okay, I'm in your bed now. That didn't happen. We, as siblings, were no, this is mine, and this is yours, and we never slept in each other's beds. This is just weird. She says that she is cold, so she decided to sleep in his bed while not having a blanket on her, and also just wearing, a tank top and shorts. So, girl just needs to put on a sweater or, a blanket, but whatever. This is part of what's so frustrating about Iku's character. It's just because she's so dumb. And there's nothing wrong with having a dumb character, but in this context, it's just it's just weird. She's so dumb. She doesn't understand why it's a bad thing to be sleeping in her brother's bed. One, boundaries. That's the biggest thing. She doesn't know boundaries. It's his bed. Don't sleep in it. You know. But also, the fact that she's so dumb definitely makes it feel like Yuri is taking advantage of her. Whether or not this is, like, consensual or anything, it just feels that Yuri is taking advantage of someone who is either a lot more dumb than he is, because he's the mature one, or it almost feels like he is, like, taking advantage of someone who is younger than him. Now, she is younger than him, but they are the same age. But, like, that just has its own implications, if you know what I mean. Like, she's so oblivious to everything. And I feel like it could just be that Yuri can just go like, oh, but I love you, like, don't you love me, kind of thing. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, of course, like, you're my brother, of course I love you. And then he can be like, well, this is how you love someone, and go into all that sex stuff. Which really just makes you feel really icky, because that is how, like, a grown adult would, like, groom a younger person. They're the same age, they're 15, but the way that she acts is so childish that that's how it feels, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so Yuri kicks Iku out of his bed, and this happens quite a bit where he does something involving Iku, and then his, like, heart does, like, the heart thump thing, like, thump thump. And this happens as he, like, touches her arm to, like, get her out of his bed, and he's like, ugh, I'm touching her, like, my heart's beating fast. Very weird. Definitely relatable. It happens to me all the time whenever I touch someone I love. This is a scene, and in previous scenes, it is shown that, like, Yuri is really mean to Iku for, like, no reason. I'm assuming that he's, like, pushing her away so that she, like, won't like him, so she'll stay away from him, so that he's not tempted to, like, be in love with her. But, like, it really just comes off that he's a dick, because, like, Iku is very clearly really likes him as a brother, and really relies on him to, like, be there for her. And so instead, you just feel bad for her because she gets all upset and sad because he's mad at her or he's mean to her, and she gets sad about it. It's just messed up, and he just looks like a dick. This also just, like, feels weird, because, so if he keeps, like, pushing her away, but, like, she wants him to like her because she likes him, I feel like once he does start showing that he cares for her or that he likes her, then she's gonna latch on even harder and kind of do whatever he says because she's craving that attention from him. So that's also not good and very manipulative. Alright, so we get to meet another girl at school. Her name is Tomika, and that is Iku's best friend. He reveals that she has a crush on Yuri, and is kind of like, he already knew that she had a crush on him, so, but he just keeps on rejecting her. He's like, nah, there's someone else that I like, it's fine. And again, it just shows that he's kind of a dick, because he's like, doesn't like this girl for no reason, other than he's in love with his sister, you know, whatever, it's cool. So right after this scene, he comes out of the classroom, and Iku runs up to him and is just like, hey brother, what's up? And she apparently either, like she's going to gym, or she just finished gym and she needs to change. Either way, she has on, like, a white shirt, but she forgot to put, like, an undershirt or a cami on. So, because it's a white shirt, you can see through it, and she's wearing a patterned bra. And she gets, like, catcalled for it. There's just some dudes in the hallway who's like, haha, wearing a patterned bra. And she gets very embarrassed. And, of course, they did this right in front of Yuri, who gets very mad at them for embarrassing her. Which I think was just really stupid on the bully's part. You should probably not make fun of a sister in front of her brother. I don't know, maybe Japanese schools are different, but I feel like that wouldn't fly in American schools. That being said, when Yuri does kind of go after these bullies for, like, being mean to Iku, the bullies say something, and this really was like cementative for me, was that the bullies are like, why are you being so like defensive about her? She's just your twin sister. Like, this isn't normal? Like, at least in American schools, or just in America in general. I know that I've kind of been like lightly bullied around my twin brother, and he's like gotten mad at them for bullying me as well. Like, I don't think that's that unusual. I feel like any siblings would do that, and that's what really makes me think that whoever wrote this is not a sibling. Like, they only child and don't know how siblings work, because I feel like if I had seen that, I wouldn't think that's weird. But they're really trying to frame it as like, why are you being like this about your twin? It's almost like she's your girlfriend or something. But like, I don't think it's that weird. Maybe that's just me. Let me know if maybe I just had a weird child. I'd like to like take a little moment here and say that we are not even 10 minutes into this 50-minute OVA. That's how like fast/slow this is moving. Anyway, moving on. Goes to the nurse after this, and Tomika is there and patches him up. I think he like got punched or something. He's fine. Whatever. Tomika patches him up. Tomika's like, oh, you have someone else that you love, but I can be a substitute for you. I would be fine with that. And he's like, all right, sure. Let's do it. They make out, and then I guess they head to a love hotel and have sex. Cool, healthy. Let's move on. Tomika basically just like acts like his girlfriend now, and Yuri's just sitting on the roof with his friend, whose name I don't know. And the friend is like, oh man, you're not in love with Tomika. You're in love with somebody else. I don't know who it is, but you're in love with someone else. He's like, yeah, it's fine, whatever, I don't care. And then Yuri just takes the entrance exam for the school he wants to go to, and he passes. Some stuff happened. Let's move on. The next evening, Iku just comes in, again showing that she's really reliant on Yuri, is that she just walks in and is like, yo, give me your math notes because I fell asleep during class, so you need to help me with my homework. And she starts going on about Tomika having a boyfriend now, even though she does not know it's Yuri, and she's blathering on about all the stuff she would do if she had a boyfriend, and Yuri gets crazy angry at this and asks like, oh, what boy do you have a crush on? That good-looking guy in that class? Is it him? Or is it that really smart dude from that other class? Huh? Who is it? And Iku's just kind of like, why are you getting so mad at me? I didn't do anything wrong. Like, why are you angry at something hypothetical? Yuri is made of nothing but red flags, so, like, look, if a guy ever acts like that around you, you should probably stay away from that guy. So, like I said, Iku doesn't understand why Yuri is so angry at her, and he does this thing where he's like, okay, fine, like, you can date whoever you want, just don't get me involved. Which, again, is a very manipulative thing to say, because that's basically just like, yeah, you can date whoever you want, but like, I won't be in your life then. And of course, Iku is very reliant on Yuri, so she doesn't want to lose him, and she gets very upset by this and falls on her bed crying. But this is where things get a little bit spicy. But like I said, Iku throws herself on her bed and is just crying. And Yuri just like gets on her bed and just straight up just kisses her. And good on Iku, because she notices this and slaps the crap out of him. But then she's kind of like, oh my god, why would you do that? That's so crazy. Now, remember earlier when I said that Iku is really dumb and Yuri could do that thing where he's like, I love you, like, don't you love me? Remember that from a few minutes ago? That's basically what happens. So Yuri basically just tells her like how much he loves her and then gives her an ultimatum. It's kind of framed that she has a choice in this situation, but it's really an ultimatum. And basically the ultimatum is either that she chooses him or she chooses to be with some other guy, basically implying that if she chooses to be with someone else, that she won't have her brother anymore. Again, kind of like what just happened. And there is no in-between choice where, I don't know, Yuri goes to therapy. So of course Igu is like, oh, but you're my brother, but oh well, I choose you. And things seem to be okay, but then the next morning they're walking to school with Tomoka and Yuri, Iku, I keep on getting their names mixed up. I don't know what's wrong. But Iku gets jealous because Tomoka is like all over her brother and won't talk to Yuri anymore because she finds out that they're dating, basically. But so Yuri tries to talk to Iku about it later that night, but then Tomoka runs in and interrupts them and is just like, what do you mean you're gonna go to a school in a different prefecture? What are you gonna do? Why would you leave me? And she says this like within hearing distance of Iku, and Yuri and Tomoka decide to leave. Kind of like, I presume that Yuri's gonna walk her home, and Iku gets very jealous and angry and runs after them and is like, Yuri, you can't leave me. Please stay with me, whatever. And Yuri's like, yes, thank God she chose me. Yeah. And so he leaves Tomoka to walk herself home and carries Iku home in like a bridal stance, whatever. And she's basically like, but why would you leave me? And he's like, man, if I stay in this room that we share, like, I'm not gonna be able to stop myself, if you know what I mean. And then at Iku's request, they go home, presumably because they want to have sex. Rude. I'm filming a video here. So, Iku and Yuri go back to their room, and they're definitely like, we're gonna have sex now, and it's framed very shoujo. It's supposed to be very, like, sexy, I guess. And it's like, oh, romantic, and Yuri is like asking for consent, like, is this okay? Are you scared? Very shoujo. This is stuff I see constantly in these things. And they stop because Yuri's like, you're not really in love with me, so I can't have sex with you. Like I said, it leads nowhere. That's kind of just what happens. Not sexy at all, and let's move on to the very next day. Okay, so the next day, Yuri and Iku decide to skip because while walking to school, Iku confesses that she loves him. This is really fast for how slow this anime moves. Overnight, she decided that she loves him. So they jump onto the train and go to a church that they had visited when they were children. It was actually the church they showed in that first scene when they were kids. They go there, they have a bit of a like mock wedding kind of thing, so you know, we can now add sacrilege to the list of this anime's sins. The next day, you're gonna hear me say that a lot. The next day, Yuri breaks up with Tomoka, and Iku, for whatever reason, was looking for Yuri during this, and she, of course, overhears the two of them talking, and she hears that they had sex, basically. She gets mad at him, and the next day, because of course, it'd be the next day after school, can't keep it the same day, she makes him take her to a love hotel, basically being like, the only way that they can fix this is now if they have sex. So, yeah, this is a very long, drawn-out, and pretty awkward and really not provocative at all scene. It's not good. Okay, so we're in the last 10 minutes now, so what is gonna happen? So the junior high graduation happens, and Iku basically tries to convince Yuri not to basically go to this out-of-town high school in front of Yuri's friend, who has figured out that Yuri and Iku are dating now. He seems pretty cool with this. He even kind of overhears a little bit of like flirting, and he's just kind of like, well, that's weird, but I'm gonna leave because it makes me uncomfortable. Iku continues to just act like a baby about Yuri leaving, and basically just like won't talk to anybody and has locked herself in her room, and Yuri kind of fakes her out and is just like, well, I'm not gonna talk to you either, and like leaves from the other side of the door. So Yuri gets worried that he really did decide to stop talking to her, so she opens the door and Yuri reveals that he bought a puppy for her, because gifts fix everything. But he basically bought it so that she wouldn't be lonely while he's gone, so she would have something else to cuddle with. This is gonna turn into a whole other type of hentai, I think. Yuri also reveals at this time that part of the reason why he chose to go to a school outside of the town they live in is so that if she visits, they can act like a real couple because no one would know them. So that's healthy and not weird at all. And finally, Yuri has to leave. He's getting on the train to go to his new school, and in an 11th hour twist, Tomika comes to the train station to see him off, and nothing happens. Nothing of consequence happens. They all hug, he gets on the train, and he leaves. Yuri leaves Iku a note under his pillow that tells her not to cry, but the last scene is still them crying about leaving each other. And that's how it ends. That's the end. Thank God, too, honestly. This anime was a lot harder to get through this time around, I think, because I have since grown out of this time around was a lot harder to get through because I was really noticing the pacing issues. Like I said, it was a lot of like nothing would happen. It would be like slow montages of things, and then like something would happen, and then it would be real slow again, and something would happen, and it's kind of exhausting to get through. I had to skip over the sex part completely because it was awkward and I wasn't having it. And the dialogue is not good. The art is not one of my favorites at all. Look, my little 18-year-old self really should have just gone onto RedTube or something, because this isn't good at all. And maybe now that I have made the video and have released it into the world, maybe it will no longer haunt me. But I hope that it won't haunt you. That being said, it was hard to get through this, but I have done it, and I feel release now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Watch it if you dare. But that was it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!